In this video, I'm going to show you an example of how we manage our speaker data inside of Airtable and push that out into our live conference website. This is something that you could utilize for multiple conference websites, allowing you to have a central store of speaker information. This is very useful for any event organizer who may have multiple events with the same speakers out and about. And it will also work for your exhibitor information and other data sets.
So let's take a look at how something like Integromat will allow us to synchronize data in our Airtable base through to a website. Now we're going to use a WordPress website here. We're going to be updating some fields and also adding an image, and we're going to be working on the speaker database. Now, within something like Integromat, you can use a router to be able to perform similar operations on multiple websites. So in this demo, remember, we're showing you one website, but you can very easily add other routes on here so you can update the same data across multiple websites, which is particularly useful if you run multiple conferences and you have the same speaker speaking at multiple conferences. All right, so let's take a look first of all at how this is built. And here we have connected our Airtable up to our example speaker database. And we've got a speaker database, and we've got a couple of speakers in here. We've got Derek Johnson, we've got Tim Davis. If we take a look at the router is here available for if and when we want to send that off to other websites. So I've just left that in there as an example. It doesn't actually serve any particular purpose here. It's just to say that at any point you can route off in another direction. So what we're then going to do is actually search for the post in the existing website. So we have here the existing website, Agency Transformation Live, and we need to know, does Derek Johnson actually exist? So we're using the name field from this Airtable base to see whether or not that post exists. And if it does exist, we then go up to here to update the post. So we're actually going to update and add in the name, the bio, and any other data that we want to do. Now we can also add another here as well. If it doesn't exist, we could actually create the post, and we'll do that as an example shortly. Now the other thing we're doing as well is we're detecting if there's no featured image. So right now you can see there's no speaker image here. Then we'll also grab the URL of that image from the Airtable base, and then we're going to create the media item. So that's we're actually going to upload that image to WordPress. And then finally, we're going to add that featured image to WordPress. So you can see here, if I click in here, we're grabbing the URL here from Airtable of the image that's actually hosted on Airtable. We're then adding that in here as an actual image into WordPress that actually gets uploaded into the media directory. And then finally, we're adding that then as a featured image down here. So we're actually pulling the new media item ID that we've created so that we can pop that in there. Now, I did mention that we would also want to create a new post if one didn't exist. But first, let's show you how this flows at the moment with an existing post. If we take a look at the speaker, we've got Derek Johnson, we've got the information here. And you can see here we have founders, some information, and no featured image. So what we'll do is we're going to go here and we're just going to edit Derek so that it's set to founder with no S. So that now means that this record has been updated. Now you can set Integromat to run on a schedule every few minutes, etc. But I'm going to run manually for this demonstration. So if I click run, you can now see that it's flowing through all the data points. It's found that the post existed and it ran an update on the name. That's the job title. But it also found here that there was no featured image, and it found the image, it's uploaded the image, and it's added that image to the post. So if we switch over here, you can now see the title has removed the S, so we've now got founder, and the featured image has been added. So this has all been done from this area here. Now, obviously, we can see at the moment that this is based on data being updated. So we can add another route with another if statement, as it were, to say if the post doesn't exist, we need to do something with that. So let's first add our module of WordPress, and we want to create a post. Let's then click on this create a post, and we want it to be a speaker. We also want to then take the name from Airtable. We want to take the content from Airtable, and we want to set this as published. So where is it? And then what we will do is add all of the meta fields that we might want to update. So that might be the title. That's the job title. So let's write title, and then we can fill in the job title. And we can also add another value of, say, the company. So we're linking up those meta fields. So what we'll do is we'll add a filter here. And we're going to say that we want to ensure that if there are essentially no bundles, no information received from this search, then we're going to go down this channel, which is to create a post. So what we'll do is we'll say our condition is total number of bundles is 0. And then we'll say post does not exist, so that we can label it and we can see what's going on. And then what we would do is if the post didn't exist, not only would we create it, but we could also replicate this grabbing of the URL, adding the media item, and then updating the post that's being created. But for this demo, we won't do all that. You're going to say. So let's create an example post. Donald Trump. And then we're going to also delete this one. Not as though that will update, because we've not done any particular synchronization for removal. But again, you can do stuff like that. Now we've added that new record. We've got our details here. So let's go ahead and run this. And in theory, what will happen is we'll find that the post doesn't exist. So it's going to ignore these two. And it's going to actually add the post down here. So let's run this. Perfect. So you can see here that it has created the post for us, Donald Trump, all of his information, and it's also updated that meta information, the director, the company of Event Engine, etc. So again, if we wanted to add the image on and add all the other modules to this track here, we'll then be able to do everything. So to reiterate, we have our Airtable here with the data. That's our central source of information. We have a router that would allow us to send this data off into multiple websites, multiple different systems. So you could be sending copies into a Google spreadsheet. You could be sending copies through email. You could be sending information into other WordPress-driven websites, or even other content management systems as well. So you can use this router. And then you can see here for this particular website, we have the search for a post, and then we're saying if the post exists, update it. If there's no featured image, and there is one essentially being provided, then update that featured image as well. And then again, here, if the post doesn't exist, we're actually creating the post. And if we wanted to, we could add all of the other steps in to add imagery, etc. So you can see here, this is a lot more in-depth, a lot more complicated than something like Zapier, but it certainly gives you a lot more flexibility to be able to manage the data that you have. Hit us up in the comments below. How are you using Integromat for your event? Are you using it? Have you found ways of using Zapier that give you a similar sort of performance, because they don't currently support synchronization? Let us know in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.